Hi guys, today I'm going to be reviewing the KO Transformers Masterpiece MP-20 Wheeljack. This is the Takasa Tony release of Transformers Masterpiece Wheeljack. Obviously this is a knockoff. They've copied the box, they've copied the figure. I'm going to kind of go over and do a comparison between this and the Takara version. Some very similar features and some very different. In fact, let's bring in the Takara Tomy box here. So for the rest of the review, I'm going to have the Takara version on the left and the KO version on the right. So the first obvious difference is they've changed all of the Takara Tomy symbols or logos into Takasa Tony. Even though that's just a slight change, there's definitely a difference between the previous releases they've had. Pretty much every single Autobot car has had a KO except for Bumblebee. That's the only one left they haven't created a KO for. And this is the first time they actually went and changed the labels. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit, but it does seem like the KO factory or KO company is actually taking pride in what they're creating here, which is a pretty good facsimile, pretty good copy of the Takara figures. Now, I'm not going to say that's a good thing. You know, it's obviously they're stealing the copyrighted material, copyrighted, figure from Takara. But for what it's worth, it's out there. You can buy it. You can go on eBay. You can get it. You can go to tfdirect.com. There's a lot of places where you can get this figure. So, it's available. And obviously, Takara Tomy is not stopping them. They're not shutting down the factory. And I think the KO company is really getting brazen. So there's a couple things. The first one is the Takasa Tony. The second one is, instead of the Autobot symbol here, they've replaced it with a C. Some people have sort of surmised that the C is the name of the factory or the name of the company. It doesn't really mean much. I mean, what does C mean? So it's kind of a subtle hint that, hey, we're able to create this and Takara can't do anything about it, and here we are, replacing their symbol or replacing their logo, and there's nothing they can do. So kind of an interesting thing happening here. The previous releases, they all were literally an exact copy. The box, the figure, everything was an exact copy. Now if you look at the box, everywhere it says Takara Tomy, now it says Takasa Tony. By the way, on the bottom here, the Lancia sticker license, officially licensed sticker is missing. It's not here on the KO. On the side, you've got, again, same difference, Takasa Tony and MP-20 versus CMP-20. On the back, pretty much identical copy except for MP-20 versus CMP-20. Again, not sure what the C stands for, but they've changed everywhere where it says MP-20 to C. And then again, same thing on this side. So literally a facsimile, a copy of everything except this and this. So that's about it for the box. Let's get it open and take a look at the figure. Now, like other KO figures, this comes with the accessories that you had to pay extra for when you got the Takara figure. The Amazon Japan exclusive that you had to pay for separately. This one actually just comes right with it. So it's pretty amazing that Takara can't, sorry about that, Takara can't include this. I mean, what is this, a little piece of plastic? This is probably less than $1 to make. Takara can't include this, but yet the KO manufacturer for, I think I got this for $30, $32, shipped from China, comes with this thing. That's unbelievable that Takara is upcharging that much for this little thing. So that's one main difference. You don't get this. You do get these rear windshield mirrors here, the replacements, but you do not get the hypnosis device. And then here we have the instructions and the trading card. Now I will sort of compare the trading cards here. I got to get the other one out. Sorry about that. Now here's the, once again, the left side is the official. I mean, these are very easy to tell the difference because this has got a C. They've even changed the font size to allow you to see the difference. But pretty much identical other than that one little feature, the C. And if you go to the back here, again, identical except for the C. So this is really, and the card quality as far as, you know, the paper itself, they feel about the same. In fact, this feels a little bit thicker, but pretty much identical. As far as the instructions go, they do look fairly similar. Now, the KO does have this extra fold here, even though it wasn't folded this way, but I think they initially had it folded and then realized, oh, they can't fit it. So then they unfolded it. But here you've got the KO, and here are the official instructions. Obviously, identical copies, except for Takasa Tony versus Takara Tomy, and then the MP-20 versus the C MP-20. But everything else is an exact copy. So, pretty interesting that they decided to copy everything but the logo and the, whatever you want to call it, this MP-20 tagline that they use. That's about it for the instructions. I'm not going to go over this. I did go over this in my other review for Wheeljack. So if you're interested in, you know, learning or seeing more about the instructions, please go to my other review. But they're essentially the same as the other figure. Let's take a quick look at the what comes in this bag here. And it looks like you do get instructions on how to put this in his hand, which is an exact copy of what you get from the Amazon Japan. It just basically tells you to open his hand, put this in, and then close its hand. This is just really just a painted piece of plastic. It's actually, you know, fairly nice, but really just very simple. I don't know why Takara couldn't include this. We'll set that aside. But that's pretty much it for the instructions and the accessories. We'll kind of get this put away and get to the figure. It does come in the same plastic tray. It's pretty much laid out the same way. Everything's exactly the same. And when you take him out of the clamshell here, he really does look very similar. I'm gonna get the figure and the accessories out. You do have all the exact same pieces included. You've got the cannon, the pistol, and the figure. Now, let's bring in the official figure, and we'll kind of do a side-by-side comparison. Since we haven't installed the rear view mirrors, let's just take a minute to do that right now, so that we're really doing an apples-to-apples comparison. They do look pretty much the same as the Takara version. Let's see how they install. You know, I probably could do a better job with this using a X-Acto knife, but it doesn't really matter. And of course they fit just fine, no problem. It goes right in. And we'll take the other one off here and stick that guy in. And from the look of it, they are pretty much the same. The plastic is probably a little bit thicker up close, but I mean, you really can't tell the difference. They're almost 100% identical. So that's really, you know, they've done a good job copying the rear view mirrors. And one of the first things I noticed when I took this out is the figure actually rides a little bit lower to the ground. Now, I'm not sure if I can show this or not. Hopefully I can get this on camera. The Takara figure is just a little bit higher off the ground. It might be because maybe this is mistransformed or not sitting flush. Let's take a look. I mean, it is flush, but for whatever reason, it does sit lower onto the ground. So this front bumper is maybe 1/8 of an inch lower to the ground, which is interesting difference. This looks like a quality issue. The rear spoiler actually doesn't stay together. Looks like it wants to fall apart. Let's back up here. Yeah, this is definitely a quality issue. I'm probably gonna have to leave this, maybe stick a little piece of paper in here to let it kind of settle overnight, because it's obviously, you know, it doesn't want to sit properly. So some fitment issues right away, right from the jump with the KO figure. So as far as paint, this front part, really, I cannot tell any difference. It looks exactly the same. If anything, you know, even the words are the same. But once you start coming to the back, there's definitely some differences. So hopefully I can get this on the camera here. Now, it's a little bit less exact in the back here. The paint, especially the edges, start to get a little fuzzy, whereas the Takara version is very straight and very exact. Same with the sides here. Well, you know, they're pretty much the same. You can't really tell the difference. On the wheels, is a little bit of overpaint, a very, very, very small amount of overpaint right here, versus the Takara, which is exact. It's actually perfect. So, minor difference. I really don't, it doesn't matter to me. It looks just fine. From the top, pretty much everything looks the same from a distance. If you look up close, the paint's slightly different. Now, next thing we'll do is try to test the rolling. They do both roll just fine. And there's no problem with the rolling. Alright, next comparison we're going to do is the Canon. So, the KO one actually looks a little bit shinier. It's a little bit more chrome colored paint. And that might be just a function of this has been out, not in a box, you know, kind of sitting on a shelf, so maybe this is has a little more sheen to it. But other than that, they're pretty much identical. There's really no discernible difference. There's no trademarks or any marks on these to be able to tell you what the difference is. So really, really quite the same. The only way I can tell is the shininess of the KO. Now when we stick them in to the top of the vehicle modes here, looks like this one, and I know Rocket Punch Army, another reviewer, noted this same issue, which is the gun is missing a pin. So it flops around. It doesn't stay up. There is a fix for this, and shout out to Rocket Punch Army for posting the fix video. You can fix that, so I'll probably be implementing that fix. But right now, this one obviously doesn't stay. That's about it for that Canon. And that is obviously a quality issue. Another thing is when you pull the Canon back out, the Takara one pops back up, but the KO does not. And I noticed, you kind of have to fiddle with it to get it to pop back out. There you go. It popped back out now. So this one's not as springy, or maybe there's something that gets stuck on. Maybe the paint's a little thicker. So not quite perfect on that. Now we'll take a look at the pistols here, or handguns. Again, identical looking. They look very similar. But this one's a little bit shinier, probably because, again, out of the pack. It hasn't been in the package. But I did notice when trying to mount this as the exhausts onto Wheeljack, it does not fit. It will not stay. It looks like that's due to a problem with the bottom here. Yeah, it looks like the cavity where the tab is supposed to fit is not as deep. I don't know if that's coming across on camera, but the spec on this was probably not quite right on the measurement. So if you take the KO, sorry, I don't want to mix them up here. Take the KO version, it does fit quite nicely there. Let's see if the Takara version. Let's see if the KO gun fits on the Takara version. Yep, it does. Actually, it fits pretty well. So, no problems there. So it's definitely the KO version. The tab, or the slot, is definitely not the right size. So another little KO, QC problem. Again, paid less than half of the price for the KO versus this. So when you have to keep that in mind, this was $30. This is $75. And shipping was not free unless you had a $150 order. This is from TF Source. This one is from eBay. So keeping in mind that this is more than double the price, these small issues, QC issues, which you can probably fix. You can probably fix this excuse me, loose handle here. You can probably fix the fact that this doesn't fit. You probably need to do a little shaving, or some adjustment. But those little QC issues, not a big deal. Let's get these guys transformed into robot mode, and then we'll do a comparison of the robot modes and see if there's any differences. We'll be right back. Okay guys, we're back from transforming here, and these two figures, the KO and the Takara version, really are hard to tell apart. There's definitely a way to tell, and I can't tell you where it is. There's actually a couple of ways. On the bottom of his foot, he does have a number here, and the KO version starts with a G, and the Takara version starts with an H. That's one difference. There's also a Tomy badge, which I've lost track of now. I believe it was visible in vehicle mode. Sorry, I'm trying to find it here. Well, I seem to have lost track of that. Marking, but there is a a Tomy stamp, and on the KO figure it says Tony. So I mean, obviously, they are marking that this is different. They didn't try to reproduce that. Let me actually try to get this apart here. There was some slight differences here. The tightness between, so the way this transforms, it comes together here in the chest, and then it's supposed to kind of get held together by the so these tabs right here are supposed to align with these holes, but they don't quite align. Probably because of, you know, the KO figure fitment is not quite as good. So you kind of have to fiddle with it a little bit to get it quite right. But you can get it, you know, you can get it to kind of stay together and, you know, be pretty tight so that nothing moves around when you move his arms. And you can get this back piece tabbed in. I'm not going to review the articulation or anything in this review. If you want to see articulation, you can check out my other review. But they definitely have a little bit of an issue with the clearance, or maybe the fitment here between the chests. This one's definitely tighter. Got a little more gap here. I mean, it does stay together, so it's not a problem. But it's a difference, I noticed. Oh, sorry about that. Other than that, I mean, everything is really a great facsimile. The paint, the plastic, the look of the figure itself, the stance, even the tightness. Well, okay, tightness of the joints, still extremely tight and nice on the KO. I mean, you can still get them to do. Well, they both have this problem, but you still can get them to do one of these crazy things. They're both capable of doing that. So they're tight enough where you can. Oh, maybe not. Let's see. Come on, guy. There you go. So pretty much, you know, tight enough to do almost any pose you're going to do. Obviously, the Takara is a little tighter. That's one of the reasons I really like this figure. Is it came right out of the box, everything tight and, you know, very perfectly, you know, very high precision with this guy. This one, okay, some precision issues, but still for KO, not bad, you know, not bad for a copy. I am finding these are a little bit looser compared to these. They do tend to get pushed down. But from the naked eye, up close, really almost impossible to tell. I mean, I know the difference because of the Tomy marking and the little marking at the bottom of the foot, but pretty much the same. Now when it comes to these, this one obviously sits right in his shoulder and you can articulate it up and down. But this one obviously be the same problem that you had in vehicle mode. It's not going to stay. And that's due to a missing pin. You can make an adjustment. That is covered in a video done by Rocket Punch Army, but I might do that fix because this is kind of annoying that this doesn't stay. But as far as looks are concerned, they look the same. You know, you can't tell the difference. Now let's see how the weapons fit into the arm. You do have the standard Masterpiece style hand. So here is the Takara version. It's very tight. This is one of the first figures where this fit like almost perfectly. Oops. Sorry guys. So tight I can't even get it in there. No, it really does fit quite well. It's a perfect fit. That was one of my favorite things about this figure is out of the box it fit. Everything was nice and tight and fit perfectly. No, you know, QC issues. Here's a KO. It does feel a little tighter. It's definitely seems like it's harder to get in there. and I actually cannot get it into the hand. So that's a problem. Also, see, now you see the issue with the shoulder, but so I think the issue is the tolerance again for where the tab fits in is just too tight, and it can't go in. Let me just try one more time here. Okay, never mind. It's not perfect. It's actually sticking out a little bit. It's a little crooked, but you can get it in there. You can get the hand closed. Let's get this thing fixed here. Here we go. Sorry about that. So you can get it in there pretty good, and really you can't tell the difference between these two guys as far as quality, as far as colors, as far as the weapons, other than this little problem here. Pretty close. I'm impressed. I mean, maybe that's why the KO factory is starting to brand their stuff, because they think they're, doing something good. I'm not going to, debate whether it's good what they're doing or whether they're stealing. Obviously, Takara hasn't gone after them, so they're not really interested in pursuing these companies who are creating the copies. They're making enough money on the originals that it doesn't really matter. As far as the face mask, I am noticing a slight difference in the paint. Let's get in close here. It does appear that the KO face or head sculpt is slightly darker, a slightly darker metal. It looks a little more gray. I don't know if it's going to come off cross camera. This is a lighter gray. This is a slightly darker gray. But again, so close from the naked eye, it's just very hard to tell these two apart. I really can't see much difference here. Let's back out here. From the back view, pretty much no difference at all. So I think they've done a great job with this KO figure, and I definitely recommend this for somebody who's trying to save money and wants this figure but doesn't want to pay the $70 price tag for the Takara version. The KO is definitely a good alternative, and plus you get this. Oh, I didn't actually show this, so let's take a look at this. You open up the hand. Let's see if it fits in here. Yep, and it does. That's great. So look at that. Added bonus, you get the hypnosis device, or hypnotic device, what do you want to call it. Really nice. I'm happy with this KO figure, other than this, which there is a fix. I'm going to have to take this apart. There's actually a screw right there, and I'm going to take that screw out and have this repaired. But other than that, I mean, this is really a perfect KO. They've upped their game, as Takara's upped their game with these new Masterpiece figures. The KO companies are also upping their game, and it's incredible what they're able to do with these, facsimiles. So I'll continue to get the KOs as long as they come out, and I will do reviews of them. But that's it for today, guys. If you want to know more about this figure, like articulation and some of the other facets, you can check out my other review. But this is pretty much for a comparison. Definitely recommend the KO guy. Really top-notch knockoff figure here. And if anybody's looking to save some money, this is the way to go. This was sort of a filler review. You know, I'm waiting for the DX9 Rodimus Prime to come out. Also, some other third-party figures that are been sort of in the works but haven't come out yet. We're waiting for those to show up. So, meantime, we'll review these KO figures. And then if you like this review, definitely give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions or comments, please leave me any comments below. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next time.